Somehow fasten your freak belts again? Huh.
Oh
Weird.
shit.
Any way you slice it, welcome to Ivy Suffer. Bad tagline. Also, when good vegetables go bad, I guess it's fine.
They,
But any way you slice it, it's not great.
they can't all be Fritos.
Yeah, they
That's
can't
right.
all be freak belts. This is episode 324 of Ivy Suffer. I'm Katie's picture on my phone is the little mafia tomato.
Oh yeah.
That's me.
I'm What was the name for Professor Gangrene? I forgot.
Geronihue.
Yeah.
Geronihue. Yeah, I'm Geronihue.
I'll be bank teller.
There you go.
You're saying I look like
Katie.
a
Katie's fucking
Like a Lee Harvey Oswald.
Oswald head. This week we're talking about Killer Tomato Strike Back from some year. I think 1995.
91?
92? Is it 91? Yeah.
I have
guess so.
91, but
Yeah,
Man, what an incredible franchise we were gifted with. You know?
I agree. A lot of people don't like any of these except the first one, and I think they're wrong.
They're stupid.
I think they're all good except the first one. And I don't even dislike the first one. I just think it's the least interesting because it's, I don't know, I don't know. Something about it just never really hit me. But Return of the Killer Tomatoes, perfect. And then Strike Back and Eat France I can't wait to get to because Eat France is dumb as shit. Unsurprisingly. Yeah, this is my pick because my goal is to get all of the Killer Tomatoes movies on this podcast, and we're 3/4 of the way there now.
Hell yeah.
I feel like, well, let's get into it. Katie, how much did you hate this movie?
I don't even remember watching Return of the Killer Tomatoes.
That's the one with George Clooney and Fuzzy. That's where they introduce like Fuzzy Tomato.
Oh,
I think
okay,
that's
okay,
when
okay.
they introduced Professor Gangrene too, right?
Yeah,
He
so-
was in the first one.
Yeah, that's
He's
in
the best
Return.
part of the whole fucking thing.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is like almost like nobody except the director is involved. I think like in like the end of the credits of this one, the dude with the fucking parachute has like a quick scene or whatever, but like I think he may have like just a quick cameo in all of them. I can't remember if he's in Eat France, but like essentially starting with Return of the Killer Tomatoes, John Astin and Igor are really like the main continuations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That explains why I was a little confused about what was going on. This was fine. Like,
I will say I had memories of this being funnier than it turns out to be when I watched it this time. But like I think the thing I really like that makes this like a more fun watch for me than I think most people do is I love the like anamorphic or whatever that fucking word is. Anthropomorphic like version of the tomatoes where they have like faces and personalities. Like I do like the joke of just like in the first one where they're just plain tomatoes. But like I like the like personality ones, and they go even harder into that in Eats France. So
I wish there was more tomato action in this. I feel like there wasn't nearly enough tomato action, and it was all just kind of human gags. You know, like you see him every once in a while, but like
it's one of those.
No one's getting rolled over by a large tomato.
Yeah, I think once they get John Astin as the bad guy, they lean, rightfully so. Like they just use him as much as possible.
He's incredible.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't complain about that. He's the best.
My main gripe with this is not enough John Witherspoon. Is that his name? That's his name, right?
I think so.
I don't know why I'm like second guessing myself now, but
the police captain.
Yeah, he's not the captain, but he's like the guy that works with the main cop in this, like the guy from like fucking Friday and all those movies.
Yeah.
I forgot he was in this. And I saw his name. Yeah, John Witherspoon. He's always a delight to see. I kind of wish he had more to do in it, but I'll take what I could get. Anyway, Katie, what did you think overall?
It was fine. I agree. I wanted and expected there to be more tomato stuff. And oh my gosh, somebody's sticking their paw under my door.
Probably a bear.
Yeah, it is a bear. Hello, come in.
It's the MAGA squirrel. He's back.
Oh no! Everybody remember that from 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, right. Hi. He's like, hey, you guys talking about tomatoes? I didn't there were things that I laughed at, but I felt like the movie was like a little disjointed or something for me. Like, obviously I love John Astin's part in it. I loved, again, the fake TV show that they have going on in here for Geronihue.
Incredible.
Which, like, he says that the joke is that the Hugh is like Hugh Hefner or whatever, but in my mind, I thought it was a playoff of Geraldo.
Clearly, that's clearly what it's supposed to be. And Don.
Anyways, I found that really funny, and I also feel now he wants out. What is wrong with cats? That is my question.
They just want to see what's going on and then like immediately leave.
He's like, oh, it strikes back. Okay, not eat France, not interested.
Yeah. I'm out.
Lost, bro.
I think the big thing in this movie is like, I think like Return of the Killer Tomatoes is like jam packed with like the fourth wall break comedy and like referential comedy and shit like that, and you have like, you know, George Clooney being like fucking endlessly charming in it, and then John Astin's like, you know, his first time in one of these movies, just like chewing all the scenery is gangrene, and it's like following that up with this, and I understand why a lot of people don't like this movie, but like I still find it fun, but like I understand, like it's way less, like the comedy doesn't stick the landing as well as like Return did, I guess.
Yeah,
because they try to do some of those like really absurd jokes, like like the fucking they show up at like the crime scene at the beginning, and then just like a runner from like a marathon goes running through the like police tape, and like shit like that, where I'm like, I get it, but like it, I don't know, it's just not as clever as I feel like they do for in like Return.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me too is that like I didn't really care for the main cop guy who's like the main character.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny that I don't remember watching the second one, but I remembered FT. Like, he's a star.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still want to fucking tattoo
such
him
charisma.
so bad.
He's the best. But like, I don't know, like it was fine. And I have to say, like, I've almost never related to a villain as much as I do to Dr. Gangrene, because essentially he just wants people to stop being so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, hello. So I'm here for it. I did take notes, like actual notes, but it's only like 2 pages, so we can go through it.
Like, it's one of those movies that's like,
it's not a ton going
on.
The
plot isn't super detailed.
It's
it's bits, and it's like, I feel like in this one specifically, most of them aren't really worth going over.
The only one that I remember vividly and that will stick with me forever is the end credits bit.
Yeah, it's so good.
Where it's like a sports locker room interview with the winning team and the losing team.
I think
that's fucking funny.
The joke,
and every movie should do that, in my opinion.
The joke in that I thought was really funny is like right before it gets done, the fucking the guy interviewing him or whatever is like, oh, the credits are still going, but I can't read them because they're backwards. Because they're technically behind the credits.
Right.
It's just one of those things. Like this is one of those ones that's like, it's like I said, like you're, like Katie said, like she didn't really like the main guy, and it's like for me, like I get what they're trying to do, but it's again, you're following up like George Clooney, at like his like as one of his earliest movies, and like it's just hard to match that like level of charisma with like this oafish cop that I will say dresses cool shit, but like
I was gonna say the joke with him of him wearing just like the craziest patterned pants I did find funny. But yeah, it's also weird to me that he doesn't believe, like his whole thing is that he is a like investigating homicides, but he doesn't believe that killer tomatoes are real. And I'm like, sir.
But that's the thing that I was watching this and I did think was, it's very stupid, it doesn't make sense, but I did think it was funny that like they've been dealing with the idea that like tomatoes are killing people for like years in these movies
now,
and like somehow like this cop is just like that's
a nationwide thing.
Yeah, like literally the first movie is like a massive thing, and then this he's just like, I don't think that's real.
Yeah, that didn't happen. He's like he's the COVID denial guy, but
I guess that's fair.
With tomatoes,
that's true. Yeah, I guess that's fair. The opening of the movie basically is a spoof of like a slasher where there's a woman being chased in the woods at night by a masked killer.
Also a joke I think is funny is when the fucking hockey player comes back.
Yeah. All of the tomatoes in the little hockey masks.
So good.
The tomatoes themselves are real. Well, that's why I'm saying like I wish there was more. And like more personalities.
Yeah, like it's been a minute, and I've only watched Eats France once, but I feel like they talk in that one. Like they
remember
talk
you saying they do.
They talk in this one, but it's not like it's not like
it's like tomato.
Yeah, but like I feel like if I remember correctly, there's like conversation or something with them, and they all like there's the ones that have like they just look like your sort of stereotypical like French people in comedies, sort of tomatoes and stuff. Sure. So we'll get to that sometime during our weird little guys thing.
Weird little Christmas guys.
Comfort and joy.
Okay, so she's like running through the woods or whatever. A masked killer shows up and she goes, "Oh, thank God! I thought you were a killer tomato." Okay, great. But then, it's just like a masked hockey. Obviously, whatever. He's got a. Does he have a chainsaw also?
I think so.
I'm like, am I just remembering that from Frankie Freaks? We have two little guy chainsaws.
Like. One of the things, and like this may have been on purpose in this, I can't tell, but like there was something Caitlin and I were watching recently where like they did the like, oh, I'm like the Friday the 13th guy with the hockey mask, but he's got like a chainsaw, and I'm like, no, Jason didn't have a chainsaw. Get your shit right.
That's why I feel like he did, but I'm not sure. Anyways.
I'm like 99% sure he did.
So he's like, yeah, and then all of a sudden the little tomatoes show up in hockey masks, and both the woman and the masked killer are scared, and the killer screams. This is where we meet Detective Boyle, and
pretty boring.
He wakes up in like a wacky, insane 80s guy apartment.
Talk about a square.
Yeah, where his
everyone's gonna listen to Frankie Frico in this one weeks apart and be like, "What the fuck are they talking
about?" It's called lore. Okay.
Yeah.
You're a true fan. You'll know. That's right.
For best results, you have to listen to all of our episodes consecutively.
I wonder how long we could go in a row of making a Frankie Frico reference until we forget.
It's our new Seinfeld connection.
Yeah.
It's the new Meat Shake, which was the new Seinfeld connection. Yeah. I'm sure there was something after that actually, but I feel like you can very much tell whenever we've like recorded back to back because the episodes are like the same jokes.
Well, there's like phases that I'll like notice in the podcast where like we had like the phase where I was doing weekly world news shit for like 2 months, and then like one episode I forgot and we just like never went back to it.
Yep.
And like that happens where there's like periodically we get into like a thing where we'll do it for like a while, and then maybe we have a week we don't record, and we just immediately fucking forget.
Yeah.
Like, we got a lot going on.
Yeah, just like, do you get a lot of nosebleeds? Yeah. What Up is gone. Kit wasn't even here for nosebleeds or What Up, and they're gone already.
Damn.
Actually, What Up will never, ever leave.
Yeah, What Up will never die.
I don't even remember what Up is, and I was there for it, so.
It was...
I'm assuming it's a Ghost Adventures thing.
It was Ghost Adventures, Joe's Exotic Zoo. They did a spirit box where the spirit box came through and said, right. What up? Like, what up? And, you know.
Hey, I mean, you gotta think.
That's how ghosts talk now.
Not all ghosts can be, like,
from the 1800s.
1500s or whatever.
Yeah.
There's gotta be, like, some ghost that died at the height of the Budweiser commercials.
What? Well,
what is that?
Exactly. We did actually Was Up a separate thing. That was a thing for a little bit. I remember doing that, and you did not like it. But I don't remember why I was doing it. Anyways, you know what else I was thinking about earlier today for no reason was Scared Man.
Oh yeah.
Okay, sorry. Let's see. Okay, yeah, okay. So Detective Boyle is in his insane man apartment where his alarm to wake up is like a basketball hoop.
Yep.
That he has to get a basketball to turn it off, which sounds like the worst thing ever. He's a cop detective. You know how it goes. I did laugh at this. He gets sent to investigate a homicide, and he walks up to like where they've got the police tape, and he's like yo-yoing, and the yo-yo like gets caught on his like partner's arm.
A AAA rating.
Yeah, and then he also like drops it onto the body. I did find that funny because then he goes, "Oh, gross!" when he sees it. Also funny. It's the body that they find is the mass killer from the opening who's been killed by the tomatoes, right? Then we made a tomatologist.
Yeah.
Which
incredible.
The way she says tomatoes in this drives me crazy.
Tomato?
Yeah.
I want to go to Gun College and then Tomato College back to back.
Yeah, get 2 degrees.
Gun College with a minor in tomatology.
Tomatology.
Yeah, tomatology. Whatever you want to say it. Tomato, right?
Potatoology.
Potatoology. That's actually a course for me.
I don't know why. Anytime you would hear some like in like a sitcom where like the dumb person is like tomato, potato, or whatever, always works for me. So
great.
FYI, if anyone's writing a sitcom specifically for me.
Yeah, Fart Cola, give me a break. That's you. Okay, so it's the mass killer. We see the dead body. The detective goes, "Oh, gross." We meet the tomatoologist. If you haven't picked up on what I'm saying, for tomatologist, Dr. Kennedy Johnson. Pretty funny joke.
Yeah, she was conceived. I forget if it says conceived or born at the whatever Democratic National Convention.
Yeah, pretty funny.
Amazing.
And the whole thing between them is that she is specializes in the study of killer tomatoes, and the detective does not believe that killer tomatoes exist. So there's like this whole thing. They find a mustache in a bush, and he's like, "Ew, there's a booger on it," and she's like, "That's not a booger, that's tomato juice." And it like zooms.
Famously similar looking.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Same color normally, I guess.
I'd be concerned if any of my boogers started looking like tomato juice.
Yeah, that's not great. Like, go get checked out if that happens.
Sounds like a brain hemorrhage.
Probably fine.
That night, Dr. Kennedy Johnson, is attacked in her lab by a bunch of tomatoes, but she's fine. I'm not sure. Then we get introduced to Geronihue, who is basically has a TV show where people talk to each other. Like, he talks to people and people talk to each other, essentially. Whatever.
I would like to know how they got John Astin to cut off his real mustache for this.
I mean, actually, yeah.
The fake mustache looks so incredible.
That's so funny.
Like,
so there's like this whole bit where they're like showing us commercials about the show, and he's there, whatever, right? And he reveals himself to be actually the mad scientist, Dr. Gangrene, and he is. We don't know yet. We don't know what's going on yet, really, except that he has this show that he's getting people to come on.
Do y'all wonder how different the world would be if we grew up with Geronihue instead of Jerry Springer?
Yeah, every day.
Oh, it'd be so much better.
Yeah.
And so he is having people on the show, including FT, who they just keep calling Fuzzy Tomato. That's what it stands for, right? Fuzzy Tomato. And he has people on there, and there's like a blurb at the bottom, and it says, "Love Apple or hate mongers?" I don't know why, but "Love Apple" made me laugh really hard, because tomatoes and apples do not taste similar at all.
Disagree.
Let's see.
If you've had a good one, you would know.
Okay, fair. Let's see. Boyle checks out another homicide. That's all I wrote about that.
Yep.
We see briefly a bunch of tomatoes driving a car, which is really great. And they bring a bunch of money back to Dr. Gangrene because, they're doing crimes for him or whatever. And in return, he is feeding them fertilizer. There's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them. They've got little faces and pointy teeth, and they are pretty cute. I like them. Yeah. Back at her house, Kennedy. Okay. This was probably my favorite joke, and it's not even funny at all. It's very stupid, actually. But they do this, they do a few, bits with her that, we see a lot in other stuff. But this one specifically, she's, getting ready to take a shower, and she disrobes, and they, do this thing where she, takes off her, robe.
The fucking,
she
work
takes
belt?
No, so she takes off her robe, she takes off her, undergarments, then she takes off, fake, boob, whatever, and then a box of stuffing drops down onto it. The box of stuffing really got me. I thought that it was Stouffer's stuffing.
I don't know why the work belt's the one that gets me, because I guess it's because it's so loud when it hits the ground.
And where she was wearing it underneath everything, which is ridiculous. But no, it was the box of stuffing. I don't know. I thought it was very funny.
That's also very funny, but.
She gets into the shower and she screams bloody murder because obviously they're leading us to believe that there's a killer tomato there. But what she's actually screaming about is that she's almost out of shampoo, and then she immediately does it again because she's almost out of soap.
I do think it's pretty funny when she just pulls out the new bar of soap and just makes a big deal of smashing the little piece onto the new bar of soap.
Yeah, and then there's Then there's sentimental, everything's good here music or whatever. Finally, at some point, a tomato does show up and she fights with it and ends up smashing it in the bottom of the shower. We switch over to something called Media Appreciation Day, which is a gathering of a bunch of people who are in the media to basically thank them for everything that they do. And then they're the first thing we're going to do is you have some free refreshments. And there's a tent that says free food that they all run into. But it ends up being a truck that they've all been trapped in, because Dr. Gangrene / Geronihue has kidnapped them.
Oh, spoiler.
Oh. I think the truck is being driven by a tomato at this point, though, which is pretty good.
Hell yeah.
Detective Boyle goes to Kennedy's house, because she called in the tomato attacking her, and he doesn't believe her. Obviously, he's well, where's the tomato? And she's well, I smashed it down the drain, whatever. And during this whole exchange where they're basically just arguing about whether tomatoes are real or not.
Yeah.
His tie
it's a good
gets
thing
stuck
to
in
debate.
the fish tank. Yeah, right. I mean,
I'm gonna become one of those debate bros that just shows up to a college campus, but my entire premise is that tomatoes aren't real.
If I could just play devil's advocate really quick, tomatoes aren't real.
They've never existed.
Yeah. Have you ever even actually seen a tomato?
Have you ever been in the same room as a tomato? Maybe you're the tomato.
Yeah.
Okay. there's a bit where essentially he almost drowns in her fish tank as they're talking, and they just like don't acknowledge it. Okay, so later on, there's like another scene where he goes to the lab and she's like doing, tomato science, and he meets FT, who
tomato science,
who like we love FT. He's great. But there you go. That's your specialization.
Double minor.
Then, like, he goes out to his car or something, and he finds a note that says, like, stay away from Kennedy, signed a friend. And he's like, what is going on here? And then he hears a bunch of noise and then, like, sounds, and he goes to investigate, and he is attacked by a bunch of tomatoes. And there's another note, I guess, that says that he's to stay away from her or whatever. He thinks, for some reason, he thinks it was FT that left the note saying stay away from Kennedy. And so he's like, I'm on to you. So they get, Kennedy and FT get a call that they're wanted at the zoo because FT is going to do seal tricks for some reason. So he, like, follows them. He's, like, sneaking around following them for some reason, even though, like, he's supposed to be her bodyguard. So that's weird, but whatever. Meanwhile, Dr. Gangrene has bought airspace on Bulgarian TV. What could he be up to? I don't know.
Great question.
So Boyle goes to Dr. Johnson Kennedy's house and is like, hey, like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I'm supposed to be your bodyguard. Let me in, whatever. Then they have this, like, little bond, like a little bonding session over some hot chocolate. Where she was like, my dad pushed me into science, but I wanted to be a dancer. And he goes, topless? And she is really offended by this because she wanted to do ballet, and she essentially, like, they start arguing again because he's, like, ruined the moment, and she kicks him out.
He seems unbearable to be around, to be fair.
That's what I'm saying. I hate him. Like, he's so annoying.
I wish he had been killed by one of the killer tomatoes.
Honestly. Meanwhile, Dr. Gangrene has pulled up and has sent some, killer tomatoes into Kennedy's apartment to kill her. Boyle comes back because he has forgotten his shoes at her house and ends up saving her, from the killer tomatoes. This is when Dr. Gangrene robs a bank and kidnaps Pee-Pee Head.
Pee-Pee Head?
Pee-Wee, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
Kid's favorite, John Wilkes Booth Head or whatever.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Oh, Lee Harvey
Oswald Head.
That guy's in, like, a bunch of shit, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in Biodome. That's what I know him from.
So weird because, okay, first of all, a lot's going on in this scene we have to talk about. It's
a lot of heads. A lot of different heads this guy being called.
They're accused of having. He's a bank teller, and there's a woman who's just trying to, like, make a deposit, and this bank teller is, like, accosting her, and he's like, excuse me, did you just call me a pee-pee head? Did you call me a pee-pee head? And she's like, no, I'm just trying to, like, deposit my money. He's like, oh, so you're calling me a Lee Harvey Oswald head? Lee Harvey Oswald head? And he just, like, keeps going. And I can't even remember anything else. Like, he just keeps going. And Dr. Gangrene shows up to rob the place, but he's dressed as,
cool
like,
as fuck.
a summer tourist with, like, sunscreen on his nose, and it's just, like, really insane. And he ends up, like, kidnapping him for some reason.
Oh yeah, this guy's a fucking all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing the most.
He's one of those dudes that has, like, probably been on, like, every popular TV show in, like, one episode in, like, the 90s and early 2000s. He was in Kenan and Kel.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What else you fucking need on your resume other than Kenan and Kel?
Yeah, that's it.
He was also in Super Mario Bros.
Santa with muscles. 2 episodes of Boy Meets World as 2 different characters.
That is incredible.
He was in House Guest with fucking
Sinbad?
Yeah, I was going to say Tone Loc, and I was like, that's not right.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Amazing. Guess what? He comes back in the next Killer Tomatoes.
Oh, thank God.
Fuck.
I hope he's
something to look forward to. He is.
I hope he's John Wilkes Booth.
Concert MC.
Oh, okay.
I have no recollection of that, so.
Yeah. Right. Let's see.
We stand guy we did not name, Kevin West.
Kevin West, yeah.
He's king.
Okay,
GC
so
Romulus
after that,
from Biodome.
There you go, Romulus. Okay, so then after that, the Tomatoes attack and kidnap. I wrote police captain. Maybe he's not, but he either way is.
Oh no,
Boyle's like partner.
It's like Rude or Road or something like that. I forget what his name is because you're probably. I think you're equating it with they have the joke about the fucking spray can or whatever that like the detective pulls out and he's like, oh, I got my lucky tomato be gone spray or whatever, and then the captain walks away and he's just like, he's lucky I pull out my Captain Be Gone spray. And that's when John Witherspoon walks up.
I got you.
Yeah, his last name is like Rood.
I think he calls him Rudy or something.
Maybe something like that. I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah. Anyways,
John Witherspoon.
Amazing. He gets kidnapped though. Boyle. Okay, so then there's like this weird scene where like Boyle is talking to Kennedy, and they do that thing that they do in movies where like he's like attracted to her, so they like zoom in on her and she's like being sensual and it's like slow motion or whatever, but then the song starts playing where the lyrics are she's a hurricane. So like it gets really, really windy and it's like blowing him around and shit.
It's not as good as She Looks Like a Party.
No. It's close though. She's I would rather be a hurricane than a party, I think.
I don't know. Oh my god, so completely unrelated. So in that fucking unauthorized Beverly Hills 90210 movie, the guy that plays Ian Ziering at some point is talking to like Shannon Doherty in it, and he's like, like you're kind of like a shark or a tornado or both combined. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
I mean,
because he's like the main guy in the Sharknado movies. I was like, brutal. Who wrote this line? Anyway.
He probably wrote it himself, to be honest with you.
I hope Ian Ziering pitched it to them himself.
That's what I meant.
The guy playing me do this.
You absolutely have to have this.
Remind people that I was in these movies.
Yeah. Okay, so basically they know that his police friend John Witherspoon has been kidnapped, so Kennedy and Boyle team up to try and like rescue him. Essentially, they go into this bar that is like completely overrun with the tomatoes, just like doing their tomato thing. They meet with what is essentially the equivalent of the tomato Don, if you will. And after
Katie in the movie,
it's me, by the way, I'm here. And Kennedy uses a like tomato to English translation to be able to like talk Tomadian to him or whatever, and he tells them to follow the stars. And they're like, what the fuck does that mean? So there's this like montage of them just like investigating anything that has to do with stars, including going to the moon.
Yep.
Cash. The Boyle does say one line here that actually made me laugh really hard, where he's talking about his like partner, and he goes, "It's just not like him to be kidnapped and held hostage." I don't know why, but I found that so funny.
That was pretty good.
So they're sitting there trying to figure out what follow the stars mean, and as they're sitting there, they end up seeing this ad on the side of a bus for Geronihue, and they realize that that's what they need. So Geronihue has a like program that's called Camp Broadcasting School, CBS. And they say multiple times, every single time, that it's not affiliated with CBS. Or
this is my favorite bit in the whole film.
Yeah, or this other actual broadcasting school that's also called CBS, I guess. They say it multiple times. But anyways, so they see the ad and they're like, oh, this is where we have to go. Okay, so they go. There's a bunch of jokes of, like, sports casting which are like pretty funny because like I feel like sports casting, like everybody knows that like sportscaster voice, right? And this is like they show up in the front. There's a guy at the front desk that's just like, "Hello and welcome to the Camp Broadcasting School," and he's like talking to them normal, like he's like using his broadcaster voice, but he's like saying normal information to them, which is pretty funny. And they essentially like check in there pretending to be like newlyweds, or maybe there's just a joke about them being newlyweds because there's handcuffs or something. I don't know. But
I think they say they were like they just got married before that because they were like he was like, "What name should I put down?" And they're like arguing about it. The guy's just looking at him suspiciously, and she's like, "Oh, we just got married. We haven't decided on our last name yet."
Okay, yeah. And so they get in, they've brought FT because she's going to have FT like snoop around or whatever. And there's also like a bit with like her suitcase being really, really heavy because he pulls like a full telescope out of it. I love it's those are always funny to me when somebody pulls something like really big out of like a small item or whatever. Great. They use the telescope to basically look around. They end up seeing the police captain. There's like this run-on, or he's not the police captain, you know what I mean. There's like this run-on joke with him where like he's constantly cut himself shaving, so he has like toilet paper on his face. And so when she's looking through the telescope, she sees like a zoom up of just like bloody toilet paper on someone's face, and she like knows that it's him. Excuse me.
Whoa, calm down.
I got real riled up there. Then there's like another gag with her that's like a pretty normal one where like they're going through trying to find the door. There's a door that's locked, and he's like, "Oh, do you have a pickaxe? Do you have a like a lock pick or something like that?" And she's like, "Oh, let's see." And she pulls like dynamite and like a morning star and stuff out of her pocket, out of her like purse, you know, her pocketbook or whatever. Funny.
I do think at one point there's one of the tomatoes is like throwing ninja stars at somebody in it.
Yeah.
Good joke.
Okay. So this is where basically through Gangrene talking to the police like partner or whatever, we realize that like literally Dr. Gangrene is trying to like he's kidnapped everybody in the media so nobody can like be on TV giving their opinion or whatever, and he's trying to take over all of the TV stations so that he can brainwash people into not being stupid. So he's like giving all of these like anecdotes sort of and like examples of ways that people are stupid, like, you know, you're in line for a buffet and somebody is just like sitting there picking through all the food and you're really hungry. Why is that? Why are they doing that? You know, just like shit like that. Things that everyone does that are just fucking annoying. And so he's like saying this to the police guy, and he's like, yeah, why do they do that? Why is it like this? As if he's brainwashing him, but it's kind of just like normal stuff to be annoyed about, essentially. So, like, that's the joke, and I think it's funny, and I agree with him.
I think we need someone to do this for real.
I agree, like, honestly. Dr. Kennedy and Boyle end up rescuing him, and they're essentially like, okay, yeah, be free, go, it's fine, or whatever. And so they are going back to this joke I thought was pretty funny. They're like, okay, when we get back to our room, we need to put the telescope away. And she's like, why? Do you think they're onto us? And as soon as they walk into their hotel room, a huge, like, axe, like, pendulum swings, like, booby trap behind them in front of the door, which I thought was extremely funny. And then they start just getting... I think this is the ninja star.
What people don't realize is every hotel room has one of those, like, pit and the pendulum things.
Yeah. You have to be careful.
You're too slow. On the third failed attempt of using your key card to get into the room.
That's right, you're done. And so then all of a sudden they start getting like shot at. They get a net thrown over them. There's the Morning Star or the Ninja Star thing they're basically getting like extremely fucked up. I mean, they're fine, but like it's like extreme overkill. And also like they've again just walked into a hotel room, so it's like, where's all this shit coming from? It's funny. But during all of this chaos, Kennedy gets kidnapped. We see another segment of the Geronimo.
You got it.
Geronimo Hugh.
Got there.
TV show where they have Kennedy on it kidnapped, and he's like, watch later to find out who she is. Pretty funny. Boyle and FT are like sneaking around, and they essentially stumble onto what looks like a tomb, I would say.
Oh, like or the like
it looks like a mausoleum to me.
I would say like a temple, or I guess the inside.
Yeah, like a temple shrine situation. And Dr. Gangrene's assistant Igor is making a huge BLT that he is putting Kennedy on. So it is a BLHT.
I forgot about this, and it's pretty good. It
looks
shitty, but it rules.
It's like, yeah, it is really crazy. But they put her on it, and there's also a joke where he's like putting pepper on it, and she's like, achoo, achoo, achoo.
And it's like, hold the onion, and the fucking Igor comes walking out with a huge onion slice, but he's crying.
Yeah, it's something. Basically, we find out that the reason that he's kidnapped her and is turning her into a BLHT is because her research on tomato aggression could have foiled his plans for world domination, because tomatoes hate humans, but not as much as he does. And I was like, fair. I'm here for you. I'm rooting for you. I get it. Essentially, like, what they're saying is that the tomatoes, like, he is making the tomatoes like do crimes against humans. It's like not really the tomatoes doing them on their own. And if she discovered that, it would have like ruined his plans, right? Okay, we're all here. So he wants to brainwash people to stop making them so stupid. Again, I wrote fair. As this is all happening, though, the tomatoes are starting to go into a frenzy because they're hungry.
Mood.
I forgot, because like I don't think we talked about it earlier, when he like throws the like fertilizer down and they go to eat, and they like immediately start asking for more food, and I was like, this is the most cat fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. And he's like, I just gave you fertilizer.
I
Essentially.
was like gonna text you about it earlier, but I know you hadn't watched it yet, and I was like, this is the most cat fucking thing on earth.
I need fresh fertilizer now.
Or it would have just been like
one bite.
It would have just been like, they don't want this one now that you've bought fucking 30 cans of it.
Yeah. Can attest real behavior has happened to me. So so basically the tomatoes are starting to go into a frenzy because they're hungry, and so Boyle and Kennedy are just trying to like talk back and forth and like distract Gangrene so that the tomatoes will get crazy. And they briefly also get so that's what happened, right? The tomatoes start attacking, and Boyle and Kennedy run. They end up barricading themselves in a room where the other hostages are kind of like zombie-ish and about to shoot them, but they get distracted by essentially a Slap Chop commercial.
Yes.
Which, fair, those are mesmerizing.
It's like, you could obliterate these things.
Yeah, and so they're all watching the TV, and then the hostages like start coming at them again. So Boyle and Kennedy do this bit where they're pretending to do TV commercials, essentially, until they're able to like punch them out, and they're fine. They go out, and there's like the tomatoes are all over the place, but there is some emergency ketchup. Break glass for emergency ketchup. Mm-hmm. So they do that, and then they pour ketchup all over each other sensually, because tomatoes won't eat their own. They've got dignity to uphold here. So essentially what happens is that Gangrene starts airing his TV show as Geronihue. Boyle comes up behind him and arrests him and basically exposes his plans for world domination and all that stuff. And it doesn't really work. Like, nobody really cares. They're just like, okay, whatever. But it's fine because FT comes to save the day because he is the true hero of this franchise. Dr. Gangrene ends up falling into some fertilizer and essentially the tomatoes just eat him. Sad. Pour one out for a real one.
Trying to make the world a better place for you for the next movie.
Oh shit!
Dun dun.
Then Kennedy and Boyle end up kissing, of course, and there's glitter. It says the end, and then we get the scene that we were talking about earlier, where it's like a football locker room situation, and he is interviewing people, but it's like the director and the actors and stuff that are in the movie.
That's so good. It's like, it's such a, like, I don't know, easy joke, but I think the way they do it is really well done.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like I've seen that in other things. It's like essentially that same sort of, like, joke premise, but...
Sure. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, there were some things that I found very funny, and like I said, they do play off of some, like, pretty, like, trope jokes. Some of them I still thought were pretty funny and, like, landed pretty well, but... I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it just was fine.
Yeah, it's, like, not the worst thing. Like, it's coming off, like, at least for me, like, Return being, like, 5 stars. And then this is kind of just a little, like a 3-star or something.
Yeah. I also will say, like, thank God I watched this before Frankie Frico, because I think this would have been harder to watch.
Yeah.
That's what I did, so.
Yeah, but
Same.
I do think, like, because I do feel like these kind of, like, spoof joke movies, you have to be in a specific mood for it. You know what I mean?
Well, they're also,
but,
like, I feel like that style, like, these kind of style movies are, like, either really good or, like, bad. And, like, very few kind of fall in between. And this is, like, one of those ones that's kind of, like, just, like, right in the middle. Like, it's a very specific type of thing that is, like, it's either really nails it or, like, if you aren't good at it, it could be just, like, unwatchable.
Yeah, and I can't help but feeling that, like, if maybe the main character, cop guy, was either, like,
they need somebody
played
that's
by somebody different or written different. Like, it would have gone a long way for me. But yeah,
I think having somebody that's just a little more charismatic in that role.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's fine. It's also, again, it's free on YouTube, so like,
yeah,
if you haven't seen it, still, I'd say it's worth checking out if you've watched. Because like Attack and Return are like pretty easily available all the time, and I don't know what the deal is with Strikes Back and Eats France, but like they're never free, you know, like free on any streaming sites, and like they've never, like, there's like wildly out of print like DVD release of it. Like, I just stumbled across both of them on DVD at like a flea market once, and like immediately was like, I don't care how much these are, I'm buying them. And luckily it was like $20 for the two, but but yeah, I don't know. I like, if you're at all a fan of the first two and haven't seen this or Eats France, go watch them. They're free on YouTube.
You gotta
they're
complete the quadrilogy.
Yeah. What the fuck? I'm assuming someone's ringtone.
It's a clown. It's Art the Clown.
Yeah. Oh no.
All right. We did all news and shit. And then,
I didn't save anything I watched, so you go for it.
So, I watched 1989's My Heart Is That Eternal Rose, which, if you have Criterion Channel, highly recommend watching. I bought the Connie release Blu-ray of it because I'd heard Sam Deegan talk about it on like a podcast once, and I was like, that sounds like interesting, and it's incredible. Like I immediately put it in my top 4 on Letterboxd. It's like a Hong Kong movie that is like half really, really good, like romantic melodrama, and then like half like heroic bloodshed, like triad, like a mobster movie, I guess. And like, just the acting in it is fucking insane. The cinematography is really good. There's this like really great synth score. Like everything about it was so good. Highly, highly recommend if anyone hasn't seen it and wants to watch it. It's on Criterion Channel, at least right now, as of when we're recording. I followed that up with Vinegar Syndrome's release of An Eye for an Eye from 1990, which is like another sort of like triad, like crime movie that was fine. It's like the I don't know, it was fine. It's I wouldn't say don't watch it, but I also wouldn't say it's necessarily worth rushing out to watch. And I watched Escape from LA because, you know, I'd watched Escape from New York, might as well round it out with another perfect movie. I watched 1984's Evil Judgment, which was kind of bad. It's essentially a Canadian giallo, I guess, but like real fucking boring for like the first 3/4 of it because no one's really getting killed, and then the people that do get killed, like almost all of them are just like throat slittings. And I don't know, like honestly there was a little like behind the scenes stuff about it on the Blu-ray that I found more interesting than the actual movie. I don't know if Kit has seen this. I texted Katie about it when I was watching it. I watched 1971's The Zodiac Killer. Which
is it the Agfa one?
Yes. So the movie is fine, but the reason the movie was made is unhinged. So this guy that just owned some pizza restaurants decided he was going to make a movie about the Zodiac Killer to try to lure him out to screenings to try to catch him. And
isn't that incredible?
So he would do these screenings and set up traps in the theater because he was convinced the Zodiac Killer was going to
just like Trap.
Like, yes, that's what Shane was like. So he just did Trap, but I haven't seen Trap yet. So I was like, yeah, I guess.
You mean Trap did the Zodiac Killer?
He like. There was like one of the stories was about how like a bunch of cops were just like crammed into like a freezer to like spring out in case this guy showed up. I think the premiere screening they had they had people in the audience write down, I think the Zodiac Killer is killing because, and then like write down why or like whatever. And they had somebody in the box they were putting it in analyzing handwriting with the notes from the Zodiac Killer. And then they had cast and crew just sitting around waiting to like just jump out at anyone they felt was like suspiciously close to the handwriting. And I was like, I have to get the AGFA release of this because there's like a director's commentary and like, you know, behind the scenes shit. And I was like,
gotta hear what they say.
The movie is like not terrible. Like it's an AGFA movie, so like, you know, it's very low budget and like shit like that. And like, you know, there's a lot of fucking gay slurs in it because it's the 70s and they're like, you know, the entire movie is like, you know, truckers and shit that are like trying to like find the Zodiac Killer and whatnot. But the fucking story behind it, I was like dumbfounded reading about it.
That's so wild.
And then I got Shout Factory put out a box set of like Cat 3 movies called like Supernatural Shockers or some shit. And I had already had like 3 of them, but I didn't have the other 3, and I'd been trying to see the other 3 for a while but like if I'd find them on like, you know, not legal sites to watch, they would be like real bad quality or like not in English subtitles and shit. So I bought it and I've started watching that, and so I just like rewatched Sex and Zen and Erotic Ghost Story, which I'd already seen, and then right before we started recording I watched Erotic Ghost Story 2, where Anthony Wong plays like a sex demon in it, and it rocks. He's got a fucking tail that basically looks like a dick, and kind of fucks two women in it with a tail and I guess a real penis. It's just like softcore fucking insane movie. It rules. It's so good. Anthony Wong like barely says words in it. He's just kind of like running around and grunting like an animal throughout it. It's kind of rocks. But it's got like Erotic Ghost Story 1, 2, and 3 in it. It's got Sex and Zen, and then Robotrix, and then I think a movie called Dr. Vampire or something in it. And the actual movies are good. The commentaries on it are all fucking garbage. It makes me so mad because it's like the two dudes that are doing the commentaries on it seem to like actively not like any of the movies, and I'm like, why did you hire these people?
Yeah,
it's a real bummer. Like every once in a while, like one of the guys I guess has like directed a Cat 3 movie at least once before, so every once in a while he's got like kind of an insight into stuff, but then they spend the rest of the time like one of the movies I forget, they start talking about like the idea of intimacy coordinators, I think was the term for like the people that are like on sets now for when there's like sex scenes and shit. And they're like, I just don't understand why these are needed. And I'm like, yeah, of course you don't.
Yeah.
And so like it's a lot of shit like that, and I was like, God, these are like impossible to listen to. But that's pretty much it. We Caitlin and I last night started watching House of Villains on Peacock, which
hell yeah,
fucking insane. But like, it's just like a bunch of like reality show villains competing in shit in this house for money. But New York is on it, and she's just fucking unhinged, and it rocks. Everyone else,
what a great concept.
It's like Omarosa's on it, and she's fucking terrible. And I know there's an episode where New York just tears into her, and I'm like, fucking, I can't wait to see it. Everyone else on it, I either have no fucking connection to because I don't watch like The Bachelor,
right?
Or like you know, there's like some dude from like whatever season of Love Is Blind, and there's like one of the Vanderpump Rules guys is on it.
It's probably Jax.
Yeah, Jax. I was gonna say,
yeah, he's a huge dipshit.
I think he may have been the first person to go home.
That would not surprise me.
He kind of starts to lose it in the first, because like they don't send anyone home. It like takes like almost 2 episodes for someone to go home, and like he's like he keeps talking about how like he's done a bunch of therapy to like kind of not be
that's definitely Jax.
Yeah, not like get like angry at some of these people or whatever, and he starts kind of losing it a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, it's probably a good thing you're going home.
Yeah.
But New York, what a queen. All right, Katie, you know what I'm gonna ask, and you're gonna go, oh shit, what's your shout out?
No, I have one actually. So I recently read this comic series that I downloaded on Hoopla actually, and it's called Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, and it's like really interesting because the artwork is like super super cozy, and it's essentially about this like bear who lives in this like sweet little like quintessential town, and like everybody's like animals, but she's a serial killer, and that's all I'm gonna say. It's really interesting. I like the artwork a lot, and it's kind of like something I haven't really seen before. So,
all right,
get from the library.
What about you, Kit?
That squirrel's still dead.
Yep.
Literally, no one's gonna fuck it. I hope no one has any idea what I'm talking about at this point.
There's no way they do. Twitching Tongues released another Misfits cover album, and it rules.
That's all they did Saturday night.
Yes, it's so good.
Gosh.
That Hybrid Moments, Bullet, good stuff.
Caitlin and I think maybe on Halloween night, or maybe it was like the night before, we're like sitting on the couch, both on Spotify, going through Spotify's like terrible fucking Halloween playlists.
Yeah.
They're all bad, but somehow I was like making them listen to like the Jerry Only era Misfits songs where like they have run out of like good horror, like classic horror movies, and they're like there's like a Friday the 13th song and like a Nightmare on Elm Street and shit. And I was like playing those for them and just laughing about how fucking shitty they were.
Oh, Jerry only. Stick with wrestling.
Yeah. You and ICP, go back to wrestling. And that one time RoboCop showed up. My shout out, also a book. I started reading this book called America's Greatest Noise about this noise artist named, I think it's like Ron Lassard, I think is how it's pronounced. I've actually never heard it pronounced out loud. Or his noise moniker of Emile Bolio, I think. I'm guessing that's how I've always pronounced it. Again, never heard it out loud. And I'm like maybe a fourth of the way through it. So far it's really good. It came with a fucking an anti-flexi record that is literally just a flexi cut in half. So it's like you can't even really listen to it. He was like kind of known for, he would release what they would call like anti-records, which would essentially be like a record with no music on it. And would be shit like, there were some like noise artists would do that. They would send you just like a record with grooves and then like a scouring pad, and you were supposed to just kind of like scratch it up, and that would just be like your noise record. It's kind of like just shit like that. And I don't know, it's pretty interesting because he's like, he like was like this kind of really well known and respected noise artist that didn't release like a whole lot of stuff, but also like has kept every correspondence he's ever had with like other noise people. And like when he started his label, would literally just like have correspondence where they would just, hey, I'll send you 20 records, you send me 20 records. And like has like crates of letters. He's like kept every cassette tape he was ever sent, like never listened to him, just like kept them, and has like storage units just full of all this shit. He always talks about how he's gonna like start like a noise museum and shit. So I don't know, it's like kind of really interesting, like just like essentially like the entire book so far is kind of played out like an interview as opposed to like somebody writing a book about him. And it's just, I don't know, so far it's been really interesting. Alright. Next week, I think Katie and I are gonna do another Ghost Adventures episode.
The quintessential weird little guy.
Yeah. The most weird guy. Zach Baggins. Probably talk about whatever that fucking breaking the magician's code more.
Yes.
What king?
Yeah.
No, what did I call it? Secret Life of a Magician's Friend.
Yep. I would watch. We should make that movie.
I mean, honestly.
It'd be Secret Life of Pets, but it's just about like the fucking
magician's assistant.
Yeah, assistant. Man. I don't know why assistant was like not. I was like magician's friend.
The second magician.
It's extremely relevant to me because I just listened to our Master of Illusions episode like right before we recorded,
also,
and so
Lord
it's like
Illusions or illusion.
What did I say?
Master.
Oh, Master of Disguises is where.
Yeah, Katie just watched Master of Disguise.
Never again, literally never again. So the magician's friend was like top of mind for no reason. That was like
the magician's
that was like months ago at this point. I don't even know.
I'm going to watch some episodes of that fucking show and see if it is at all like good. I was gonna say if it holds up, but I don't think it. I can't even tell you if it was good then.
Yeah.
Hold it up.
There's no holding up.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. If you'd like to support us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/podcast. You can leave us a rating and review on Spotify and iTunes and whatever shit you listen to this on, probably. You can follow us on Instagram at I Hope You Suffer Podcast. You can listen to... No, you can't listen to. Go listen to Kit's Instagram. And
yeah, go listen to it.
Hidden Kids
Hear
3.
Preach snore.
Yeah, there you go. Hidden Kids 3 and Kitrification of Blood. Still waiting for the Absolute Elsewhere. Is that the title of the album?
Yeah. I gotta come up with a good one for that.
I gotta look at the song titles of that, see if we can figure something out.
It's real easy. There's the Stargate and the Message.
Well, the Kit Gate.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want your name attached to Gate at this point.
No, probably not.
You can follow Katie at WerewolfFace and join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/werewolfface. What's your next reward? Have you done the found footage one yet?
I did, yes.
Oh, wait, that's right, yeah, because I got a fucking student. Or no. Was mine the last one I got? Was that. What the fuck is that term? Why am I thinking of copy pasta? Not copy pasta.
Oh, it's Slender Man.
Yeah.
Creepypasta. We got there. Yeah.
My brain's not working tonight.
Listen, you don't have to tell me. I don't know what the fuck's coming out of my mouth most of the time. October was found footage, so yeah, everybody got. I'm gonna tell you right now, I felt like such a fucking creep. Okay,
I can imagine. 'Cause I know what you're about to say.
For my Patreon, I have 2 tiers that get rewards, and the top tier, which is Besties, gets a premium reward. So normally everybody gets stickers every month. There's a premium reward. I try to do different ones, but I'm kind of like running out. I've done a bookmark, I've done a coaster, I've done a pen, and so for this one, I don't know if people are familiar with the Slender Man. It just started raining really hard out of nowhere. That's creepy. Coming. I don't like that. Slender Man, but it's essentially like this really tall Slender Man, which is already scary. But the thing is, it started as a Photoshop thing. So somebody Photoshopped Slender Man into the background of this photo. So for my premium gift, I went through and found pictures of all of the patrons and printed it out and then put a Slender Man sticker into the back of it. And I felt so fucking creepy, going through people's stuff, printing out pictures on my printer, and then cutting it. It felt very bad for me. So people seem to like it though. So there you go.
The one I got was me and Caitlin meeting Kevin Smith and the Slender Man just in the background.
Yeah. I mean, but for December, I need to put up a poll so people can decide what the theme's going to be. But yeah.
I'm not even going to vote because everything I vote for gets completely. It's I'm the only one that votes for it. So.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
I have some good ideas, so we'll see what it'll be.
All right. We're going to talk about Zach. I can't pronounce my own last name. Baggins. Yeah. What does he say? Biggins, I forget now. But I heard him say it on the fucking audiobook and was upset. Yeah. I listened to 15 hours of his Ghost Hunting for Dummies book, and it was terrible. God. I don't know why I did it. I didn't even finish it. There was more.
Yeah.
I tapped out, and it's because he doesn't even fucking read it. He reads just the fucking foreword to it, and then it's some real fucking boring nerd guy that reads it, and I was like, this sucks.
I don't even know how you got that many hours into it, to be honest.
I got nothing better to do at work.
Yeah, fair.
What am I going to do? Actually work?
No. I mean, no, obviously.
Yeah. All right. I hope you have a secret life of a magician's friend.
And it's a magician's friend.
Bye-bye. Hopefully... Oh, wait, let's see. What's my prediction? Still, is Jeb Bush won.
Yeah.
See if we're right.
I'm voting for FT, honestly. Yeah. So hopefully.
Yeah, FT would be good.
I believe.
So kids voting Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
All right. Whatever I was saying. Goodbye. I hope you something. Yeah, I hope you're a killer tomato. I hope a killer tomato hits you with a throwing star. But why?